Hi everybody, it's JJ Cross here from Four Sides of Cross Productions, and today I want to talk about an article I just read recently, which I'm not sure how to feel, if I should be excited or not looking forward to what might be a letdown. And that, of course, I'm talking about the Terminator franchise. Since T2, there's been four other movies which haven't all been all that great. Though I would say I am kind of a fan of the third one, but the second one was really kind of hard to top. The second one was more about hope, and the third one was about fate. But after the third one, hold on, sorry, I'm getting dry lips already. After the third one, there was none. They were all pretty bad. With Genesis, Salvation, they just couldn't really capture the magic that Terminator was. The first one was great; it was a great horror film, but then they changed the script kind of and made it into an action film with T2, and so now what we have here from what I'm getting from /film.com is Netflix Terminator Zero finally resurrects James Cameron's original vision for the franchise. Now, I am excited because I am a big Terminator fan, and I've been hoping to have something good since Terminator 3. Again, Terminator 3 was not as good as the second one. I don't think you can really top the second one, T2. But I did enjoy the third one. Everything after that was just pure garbage. But, so let me get really into this interview where it says here, it tells you, okay, the Unstoppable Machine from 1984 is the Terminator, and 1991's Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Since T2, there has been 4 movies in the franchise, and frankly, none of them are very good. Well, I would argue for T3. It wasn't as good as T2, but it was still entertaining, and I like the whole idea is that you can't escape fate. T2 had a very hopeful ending, and the third one did not. Okay. The Terminator Genesis has its defenders with no shortage of praise for Gabriel Luno's Terminator's 2019 Terminator's Dark Fate. I don't know how anybody can praise that one. That one was definitely the worst of the bunch. Once you kill off John Connor, the Terminator, I guess, has its problem where, I guess, the John Connor problem, where how many times can you go after and try to kill this one guy, the one guy that's going to set up the revolution against the machines? How many times can you really do that and keep the story fresh? The answer is you can't. There's only so many times you can do it, and which we've seen T3 being pretty much the last time you could possibly do it. So it's kind of hard to keep it fresh, especially where there's no other story really to tell. As the leader of the resistance, you can go after other people, but the leader of resistance you'd think would be the top priority. Anyway, now though, things might be looking up. An unlikely savior might have arrived in the form of Netflix's upcoming Terminator Zero, an 8-episode anime series that, from the looks of things, is doing everything right and avoiding all the pitfalls that the Terminator sequels encountered, the John Connor problem. But the most exciting part is this new series, one of several animated shows that blew us away from Netflix animated presentations in June 2024. If it blows you away, I'm going to reserve my opinion until I actually see it. Is actually resurrecting James Cameron's original but never realized vision of the franchise. Yeah. This looks interesting as far as artwork, which I'm assuming is from the show. I am both excited and kind of gearing myself up to feel disappointed, but I don't know. We shall see, because I really like to see more Terminator, but there's the story problem. Anyway, let's continue. This is from the first Terminator with the famous lines, Get out. Terminator Zero is being shepherded by showrunner / EP / writer Mattson Tomlin. Project Power, the Batman 2. Okay, since Batman 2 hasn't come out yet, I can't really talk about. Well, you know what? Let's take a look at this. Oh wow, I lost the name. There it goes. Let's go on IMDb and see if there's anything else he's done that we can judge properly. Mattson Tomlin, known for that. It hasn't come out. Haven't seen it. Sea Beast, Little Fish, Project Power, Renee, Persuasion. Okay, so far. Well, I guess I can't really judge his work since I've never seen any of his work. So, I guess he's standing there waiting to be judged, hopefully not too harshly. Okay, let's get rid of that. Okay. Tomlin spoke to Entertainment Weekly about the show, revealing that he was leaning into the horror tone of the first two films. Well, I wouldn't say the second one had, I guess it had a horror element, but not as much as the first one did. The first one is definitely more horror than action or sci-fi, but that's my opinion. There's a completely valid version of the Terminator franchise where the Terminator is synonymous with Jason Voorhees. My favorite. And Freddy Krueger. Freddy Krueger got his ass beat by Jason. That's facts. And you can't tell me otherwise. Where he's the unrelenting serial killer. That's a pretty big deal in and itself. 1984's Terminator is essentially a sci-fi slasher. Absolutely. Arnold Schwarzenegger's T-800 was the robot version of Michael Myers. Well, Michael Myers, if he can speak a little bit, persuading Linda Hamilton's Sarah Connor with the supernatural. Okay, so we know all about the movie, so let's not rehash that. Okay, and for people who don't know, I'm pretty sure everybody knows the Terminator, knows how James Cameron came up with the idea, but if you don't know, we'll read this part. As he told the British Film Institute, in his dream he saw the image of a chrome skeleton emerging from a fire. This exact tableau would of course make it the finale of Terminator, but the feeling of experience of vivid nightmare seemed to pervade the film as a whole and its sequel. This has been missing from the franchise since T2, and Tomlin seems to intent on resurrecting it. But there's another crucial element that even Cameron never brought to fruition. I think this looks like animation, so I'm assuming this can also be from the film. Another example of Matt Tomlin's promise approaching to Terminator Zero is that while the show technically takes place with the same continuity as the films, Tomlin wasn't going to touch anything to do with Sarah or John Connor. That's probably a smart thing to do. It's been done to death, and literally to death in the last movie, which I know I'm not alone when I hated that whole, he finally kills John. That just, it ruined the whole franchise. Well, maybe it didn't really ruin it, but it just left a bad taste. It was just the wrong way to go. As the showrunner rather diplomatically puts to E.T., there's been a run at that a couple of different times. There sure was, and none of them had worked. That's right. And again, there's an argument for T3 that as though it was a decent film. So we've got a showrunner who recognizes the oft overlooked but crucial horror tone seemingly abandoned ever since T2, and who isn't adhering to the story of John and Sarah Connor, use a tortured plot device in order to make sense of the increasingly complex Terminator timeline. Yeah, it's very complex. But we try to explain away Arnold Schwarzenegger's age with he went back in time to kill Sarah when she was young, and then he became Pops. and watched over, and which that was a fairly interesting idea. You know, kind of like a reboot in the way of Star Trek. The only one that J.J. Abrams did decently, Star Trek 2009, I believe. But you're going to see, even though how briefly I understand for budget problems, I would like to see more of young Arnold versus old Arnold. It was a good fight scene, but I don't know. I guess I would have liked to see more, but I'm sure that's too expensive to make. Anyway, speaking to Empire, Tomlin briefly elaborated on the main Terminator in the series, played by Timothy Olyphant. I'm sorry, I can never pronounce the name, but I know exactly who he is. I love him in everything he does. The Girl Next Door is I guess the pimp character or dealer. Yeah, he was excellent in that. And, jeez, I'm blanking on what else he was on. And, you know, I gotta know. But that actor has a look that I think is very intriguing. I don't fall that way, but I think he's great as an actor. There he goes. Yeah, this guy. I liked him in everything I've seen him in. And one of his most recent things he's done. Oh, yeah. The Star Wars show that went good but then went bad. Justified, I hear a lot of good things about that. I never watched the Book of Boba Fett. I'm kind of done with Star Wars. Star Wars is dead. They killed it. We have... Okay, little tangent. We have writers that are not writers. They don't care about story. They just want to tell a message, and they don't care about destroying old characters because they can't create new characters. So they destroy old characters to make their new characters look good. They killed Star Trek, Star Wars, Doctor Who, Marvel, everything they can get their hands on. They've gotten rid of. They've ruined. Anyway, I think my alarm just went off, but okay. Anyway, back to here. So he should be interesting, even though it's just a voice part to be the new Terminator. This version of the killer cyborg is unique in ways that makes him one of the most exciting things to happen to the Terminator franchise in decades. Tomlin described him as more of a creepy fish man, okay, adding that he's not handsome, a little cross-eyed, and very spooky. A little cross-eyed, well, that kind of works in Death Note, the anime. Not only are we yet to see Terminator that isn't played by some absurdly attractive movie star, fans of the series might recognize that this approach actually has a lot in common with one of James Cameron's unrealized visions for the saga. So now we get into I guess we'll get into here of what James Cameron was originally thinking about when he was writing The Terminator. After James Cameron had the nightmarish 1981 fever dream that gave birth to the Terminator franchise, he immediately started developing the killer cyborg at the center of his story. Initially, he was designed as an inconspicuous figure capable of blending in and conducting murderous missions without detection. Well, that sounds interesting. Can you imagine a Terminator like that? Not just the big hulking Arnold Schwarzenegger, but someone a little smart and be able to get in and out almost in stealth. As Cameron told Variety, the Terminator was supposed to be a very inconcuccus. Okay, I gotta go back to school. He was supposed to be an infiltrator. That was the whole point with the cyborg outer flesh layer, that he would just disappear in the crowd. I like that idea. Of course, in what turned out to be a sci-fi replacement that was for the best, Cameron eventually met with Arnold Schwarzenegger and changed his initial plan entirely, casting the bulky Australian and reworking the Terminator as a physically imposing figure. But during the stage, when Cameron was still pursuing the infiltrator idea, he envisioned something entirely different, initially sketching concept art that depicted a much more slight, pallid, and even gaunt visage concealing the metal endoskeleton. I swear, I am a college graduate. I is a college graduate. I did my time. Anyway, now, what do you think of that idea? Have the Terminator not this big muscle machine. Sorry, it is really hot, and I can't have the AC on because it ruins the sound. So I am dying here. So I apologize, but I need to hydrate. So do you think this idea is a good one? That change the Terminator around, change the Terminator as we know it into something that's different, stealthy, and able to do these missions smartly and disappear in the crowd? Could be interesting. Cameron, oh, switch screens. Bye. Cameron had originally planned to cast actor Lance. Okay, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. But let's take a look and see who that was. Who would have been the original Terminator? Still like that actor. See the... Yeah, he's the aliens guy, Bishop. Oh. I think he could have pulled it off. I liked him as Bishop, and I've liked him in other roles. As a stealthy Terminator that's able to do these things, missions. Yeah, I think he would have been a really good idea for a Terminator. What do you think? Would he have had the presence that Arnold Schwarzenegger had? Comment below, and let's discuss if he would have been a better one, or is Arnold Schwarzenegger unreplaceable? Okay. Arnold playing a cop in the Terminator, that's right. Schwarzenegger was given the lead role and who worked with Cameron again in 1986 Aliens. Meanwhile, Arnie came to embody the killer cyborg and center Cameron's film, becoming a star in the process and establishing the image of the Terminator as pop culture icon. But ever since Hurricane, God, I'm so bad at names, was passed over for the Australian oak, fans have wondered what the Terminator could have been had Cameron stuck to his original stealthy cyborg plan. To an extent, you can find fan art and an impressively cast bust of Hurricane Bishop as the T-100. Can we see the fan art? Yeah, you know what? I like it. I think... Yeah. I was like kind of on the fence if anyone could ever do it better than Arnold, but this looks like it could have worked. Yeah. What might have been? Okay. Why is the Infiltrator Terminator a good idea? Well, I think it's just because it's different and not the same old. We got something different, and now that we're not going to have John or Sarah Connor involved, a whole new fresh page should be interesting. The one thing I'm noticing here, though, this fan art, a hand looks like a kid's hand. So is he going to be a Terminator protecting a kid? Let's see. Well, let's read on and see what else we can find. Since C2, the Terminator movies have struggled to match the success and quality of Cameron's initial two films, despite all of them bringing Arnold Schwarzenegger in some way. In fact, aside from 2009's Termination Salvation, the story of the Terminator franchise has been one desperately clinging to the imaginary first introduction to James Cameron's movies. The results, however, have been pale imitations and what the great director gave us many decades ago. Even bringing Cameron on as producer and rehiring the original Sarah Connor actress Linda Hamilton for the most recent entry, Terminator Dark Fate, didn't do that film any favors. In fact, it was Dark Fate that similarly prompted Arnold Schwarzenegger himself to quit the franchise, which I'm fine with that. Arnold was a great Terminator, but he is human and he is aging, and it's trying to explain his age constantly. It's kind of annoying, and it's just like it takes away from the story. It's like, okay, he's old, it's time to pass the torch. So I'm fine with that. The ongoing struggle to rekindle Cameron's initial magic has, for some time, indicated that the franchise needs a very obvious fix. Yes, namely a full reinvention. That seems to be what Terminator Zero aims to give us. Talk of the show's horror tone, its disregard for the original John and Sarah Connor storyline, and the simple fact that it's an animated series will speak to this reinvention and point to Matt Tomlin possessing a real understanding of what this franchise needs, but the inclusive of this creepy fishman. Terminator is what's most exciting to me, and not to me, but to the writer of this, and I'm sure to fans everywhere. Not just because it taps into Cameron's very first idea of the character, but because it suggests the Terminator, much like other pop culture icons, Batman and Bond, lends itself to full-on reinvention, and needn't be shackled to the original vision for the rest of the existence. Okay, so I like this article. I'm really hoping they can get this Terminator franchise back on track. At least give us a good story. So we have 8 episodes of an animated film, going back to Cameron's original idea for the Terminator. I think it should be interesting, but being disappointed in the past with all these other Terminator movies, I'm not going to hold my breath. Once it comes out, you know what? I'll review it for you guys episode by episode, and we'll see what they come up with. See if they come up with something original, or if is this franchise just completely dead and no way to revive it. What are your thoughts on it? Is Terminator dead? Is it completely dead? Has it been terminated? Or does it still have Come With Me If You Want to Live? Let's discuss below. Tell me, I really want to hear your thoughts on this. Are you excited for this? Or are you apprehensive? Or will you even look at it? Or is the Terminator just done for you? I would like to know what you think, and let me know if you want me to review all these episodes, or is it a hard pass? Anyway, I am JJ Cross from Four Sides of Cross Productions. I hope you can visit my Patreon page or my merch store to help support my work here. And I hope you enjoyed my little podcast and found it informative. So have a wonderful night, and until next time, I will talk to you then. Bye.